My dad happened to say, hey, you want to come to a real estate meeting with me? And I'm thinking about doing this. And I said, sure. I got nothing going on. And there's a speaker. This is 22-year-old me at this point. The speaker talking about how you could make $5,000 with no money and no credit in 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no money. I have no credit. And I've never seen $5,000 in one spot. You have my attention, sir.
Hey everybody, Flippin' Dani here. We are super excited about another episode of The Freedom Show, and today we're talking to Elissa Miller.
Yeah, Elissa Miller has been in our network for a really long time, and when we bought our first 56-unit apartment complex, we talked to her on how to do some value-add items in order to get that forced appreciation that we are looking for. So we had some ideas and a business plan in our head, and then the ideas that she gave us allowed our business plan to grow even bigger. And force the value on that apartment complex. So we are so excited. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today in our episode, and we hope you enjoy it.
Enjoy the show. You're tuned into The Freedom Show. We are in the studio having a conversation we're really excited to share with you. Today's guest is Elissa Miller. The crowd goes crazy. Elissa Miller began investing in 2000 at the age of 23. She has a BA from Purdue University in psychology, sociology, and English. She was a bartender after college before she started real estate. Over the last almost 24 years, Elissa has purchased, sold over 1,000 homes and apartments. She has lots of experience purchasing with none of her own money. Elissa currently focuses on rentals, single-family to large multifamily, and fix and selling single-family houses. She is a member of the Cincinnati REIA. Hey, I think we're a part of that too. And won several years of their Most Creative Deal of the Year award. We've never won that one.
No, we haven't. Welcome to the show, Elissa. We're so glad to have you.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, there's
Page
more?
2.
Never mind.
Page 2. And this one's huge. Elissa is a wife and mom of 6 kids,
Ooh, wow.
ages 4 to 26, and 3 grandkids. 2 of her kids were adopted from foster care, and she has done foster care for many years. She enjoys gardening, baking, traveling, talking about real estate, and adventures with her kids. Well, there's 6 of them. That's a lot of adventures. Holy smokes.
Okay, now welcome to the show,
Yay!
Elissa. Yeah, thank you so much. I like the baking part because I've seen your cakes and your cupcakes on social media. So as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, I've seen them. Well, we're super Yes,
right?
You have many, especially with 6 kids. So we're super, super excited to have you here. We have different segments to the show, but our favorite segment is the freedom story segment. We're all here because we love freedom and we love sharing freedom stories. And all of us have different types of freedom that kind of is our number one. Like I told you, time freedom and geography freedom is flips in minds. Obviously, financial freedom is up there too, but we really wanted to live in Florida where it's warm, and you're in Ohio and it's cold. So we're not envious of you right now. We like Florida. But can you tell us what freedom is important to you, how you're achieving it, and just share your freedom story?
Sure. So I love the question, because if you would have asked me this when I started my real estate career, the answer would have been much different than it is now. So I think, what is important changes as we learn about ourselves and learn about life. And financial freedom certainly is a very big part of what I feel is freedom, and was probably the biggest part as when I first started, and kind of I had a very one-track mind about reaching this your expenses are less than your passive income kind of situation that a lot of people have as a goal. And when I got there, it wasn't what I thought it was. It was, I've had a couple of those moments in my life where I've reached, a big achievement of the goal. And I'm like, wow, I put a lot of effort into this, and this wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So since having that kind of the wake up, freedom of time is the most important freedom for me, I think, right now. So when I started real estate, I was I started learning when I was 22. It was a year out of college. I had these degrees that I ended up making more money as a bartender than using my degree. So I was like, well, this isn't
Mm.
where I thought I was going to be in life. And my dad happened to say, hey, you want to come to a real estate meeting with me? And I'm thinking about doing this. And I said, sure. I got nothing going on. And there was a speaker. This is 22-year-old me at this point. The speaker talking about how you could make $5,000 with no money and no credit in 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no money. I have no credit. And I've never seen $5,000 in one spot. You have my attention, sir. And it kind of went from there. So real estate was never the goal for me. When
Mm.
I went to college, my degree was in psychology. I thought I was going to be a school psychologist. In my junior year, they said, oh no, I thought I was going to counsel and help kids. And they said, no, school psychologists do testing and evaluation and paperwork. And it's like, well, that's not that's not what I want to do. So I'm like, well, what can I do? And I said, you know what, I'll be a teacher. And I really enjoyed coaching basketball and volleyball. And I said, I'll be a teacher, and that's how I'll make my money. And then I can do all this coaching that I enjoy, which is how I ended up with a myriad of degrees that don't make any sense. I was just confused. um, so then when I'm bartending, trying to figure this out. And when real estate kind of hit me as an option, I was like, you know what? I could do real estate, and that can be how I pay my bills, because all
Mhm.
of the coaching and that's all volunteer, and mentoring and working with kids, that doesn't pay your bills. That's what I wanted to do, but it didn't pay my bills. So I was like, well, real estate's it. This is the answer. So real estate was never anything that I was, oh, money driven by. I was like, this is how I get to. It was the tool. It
Right.
was the vehicle. It wasn't. Turns out I really like real estate, and I was really good at it. And um, I learned as much as I could, and we bought our first house 6 months later. I was 23, and I mean, it was all she wrote after that. I think we bought 10 houses in our first year. And I ended up building a portfolio of almost 400 units. Um,
Wow.
and most of it, we used our own money at first, um because I didn't know that many strategies yet, but we were able to buy like one deal because that's how much money we had. Like, then you have to figure out, now what, how do I buy other deals? So since then, I even to this day, I rarely use my own money for acquiring real estate. If I have to put money into a deal, or if I'm doing a 1031 exchange or something where my money has to be involved or the government will take it all, then
Mm.
you know yeah, it is. But I don't want to use my money at all if I can help it.
Yeah.
So that's where I got a lot of this experience, with creative financing, with real estate and whatnot. But to speak with kind of the freedom story aspect of it, so we built up this big portfolio, and then in 2017, a realtor was showing me a building, and he said to me, have you ever thought about selling? And I was like, no, I hoard property. I don't ever sell it. I just buy it and keep it like it's going out of style. And I went home like that night, and I was thinking about that. I'm like, well, what would life look like if I did sell? What if I could sell all of it? And I called him back a couple days later, and I'm like, let's do it. Let's list it all. We'll do it as a package. We'll just sell it all and see what happens. And 6 months later, we had it sold all, sold all of it, and we did a 1031 exchange because that was what was the financial thing to do, and ended up transitioning into apartment building, one complex that the manager kind of ran it, and we collected the money, and that's where I thought my freedom story would begin. That I don't have to work. I'll just do whatever I want to do. And my husband and I, we had two kids in 15 months, so we did that. And then as my youngest kind of started getting older, I was like, oh boy, I always thought I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom when I grew up, but and this is nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home mom, but I was really mentally struggling, mentally
Mm.
struggling, um with like life purpose and, what, I love my kids, wholeheartedly love my kids, love spending time with them. I need adults to talk to. I need problems to solve. I need more mental stimulation than, let's learn colors, and that's all very important. But for me, I needed more. Um, and that's kind of where I was like, wow, financial freedom is great, but it doesn't solve all my problems. I think a
Right.
lot of people
Right.
have that kind of, oh, if I win the lottery, life is fun, or if I get to this
Mm-hmm.
goal, I can do whatever I want and I'll have no more life problems and life will be easy. And that's just a crock, I'll tell you that, because it's and and the other thing I kind of learned is that life is going to throw you problems that money can't
Mm,
fix, so
that's
it
right.
doesn't matter. you know
Mm-hmm.
Now, financial independence is important, financial freedom is important because it gives you more options, but it's
Yes.
not the end all be all of things. So I realized that, maybe 5 years ago. And so since then, um, I've been focusing more on my time and being very
Mm,
intentional with what I want out of my life and how I want to spend my time. So, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about this because after we sold the portfolio, I was like I said, really mentally struggling with what do I do with myself at this point. Um, and you know, I was like, life is like this giant buffet, so many options. You can
yes.
live where you want to live, you can work where you want to work, you can the people that you want to be with, have kids, don't have kids, get married, don't get married, go to college, have a don't go to college, do stuff with your hands, work on your education. I mean, this giant buffet of
That's right.
options, right?
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of societal pressure about what options are the best. And
Mm,
that's not the case for a lot of people, and I
right.
and when I started realizing, and I think what I'm about to say next is something that it's taking me a long time to realize and I'm still working on. But what other people think you should be doing doesn't matter at all. Just
Yep.
set it
Yes.
aside. What do you want to be doing? What
That's
brings
right.
joy to your heart? And what does success look like for you? Because society is going to tell you it's the house, it's the car, it's the vacations, it's all the fancy dinners you post on your social media. That's what society is going to tell you success is. But is that really what's going to make is that what's going to bring you joy to your heart? And
Mm-hmm.
probably not. Probably not. So you have to be really intentional about what brings me joy and what do I have to say no to in order to get
Mm,
to that joy. And a lot of times that no is going to be disappointing for your parents, disappointing for your
right.
spouse, disappointing to your friends, you know but it's you're the one that has to live with this life. So I would, if, I was sitting there, I'll just give you an example. And this example's from when I was much younger. So I got married when I was like 25, I think. I had dated this guy. We had dated like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, and he proposed, and getting married was next. After you date that long, that then you get married. That was next. And I wasn't intentional about who I was marrying. He was a great guy. He
Mm,
was a great guy, great person, and I think it was just what I thought was supposed to be like the next step in life when in your 20s. And we got married, and he had a very different view on what his life was going to look like than what my life,
mm,
my vision for my life. And very quickly I realized this isn't going to work,
wow.
and ended up getting divorced 18 months later. And
Wow.
Oh,
yes, and the thing was that, and I'm I don't want to say I'm proud of that, but I am proud of 25-year-old me, because I realized this isn't where I want to be. And yes, I realize that getting divorced 18 months later when you're 26 is going to have like this social stigma. My parents aren't going to be happy. My friends are going
Mm,
to be like, what the hell? You know, his friends are going to be like, what the hell? You know, but it was what's best. It was best for me and best for him. Why would I want
right.
to leave
Yes.
him in that marriage and just try
That's
and
right.
plow through because that's what you're supposed to do? um so it was better to come to that realization than act on it and just be, what, I'm not on the right path, let me switch paths. There was a there so it was around then that I was just like, you know what, I got to stop thinking about what other people think.
Yes. Yes, yes. That is so, so powerful. One of the things I've heard a couple times now is that when you're choosing how to live your lifestyle, that lifestyle, Flip and I talk about lifestyle design, and how we kind of made similar mistakes. Like we went down this path, not quite sure exactly what we wanted to do. And so it wasn't intentional. We were just kind of exploring and running without asking the right questions. And a few people that we've talked to on podcasts now, they have said, I had to answer what I did not want. I did not want to travel unless I chose to. I did not want to, go down this path because it didn't mean I got to spend time with my family. It took me away from them. So I think what you said is so, so powerful.
Well, and and I love that. What do I not want? Because a lot of people, I still don't know what I want to do with myself. I'm still trying to figure it out. And so I know you're right. There's a lot of things I know I don't want to do. I thought I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
But the next step of that is that you have to get out and try something. There has to be some
Yes.
action, because you're not going to
Yes.
know if you like it or you don't like it unless you move forward. Give it a try.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
As
it
long
might
as it
not be
fits
for
in your
you.
box. Yep.
It might not be for
Yep.
you, and that's fine. Stop and start something else. And don't
That's
worry if
right.
somebody's like, "Oh, you're flighty." Okay, yeah, I am flighty. I'm figuring it out though, aren't I?
That's right.
It's the quote that I read last or heard last week, and it just keeps going on and on and on in my head as you're talking. And it was, success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I love that too.
And happiness is not some kind of destination. Happiness is what you're doing right now. And if you're
Hmm.
not happy right now, then, make some different decisions right now, about,
That's right.
think about it. I mean, you don't just randomly decide, but, put some intentional thought into, what do I want my life to look like? What do
Yeah.
or what I don't want my life to look like? Oh, I know I don't want it to be like this right now. So, and then change something and it
That's
might
right.
not be right. You know,
Yeah.
the beauty of it is you
Yeah.
change it again.
Yep, yep. One of the things that you had written to us about as we were preparing for this podcast was freedom is something you need to find in your day to day life now while you're working on attaining the bigger freedoms. So, what are some practical applications of finding that freedom right now? Is it really just getting out there and trying and being okay with saying, I didn't like this, I'm going to try something new?
I think that's part of it. I think really a lot of people struggle with just even thinking about, what do you want? You know,
Hmm.
you just struggle with that. And so what when I was 29, I bought a house. It was my dream house. I was single and 29 and it was 6 bedrooms. And my parents were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like,
That's a
it's my
big
dream
house.
house. I mean, yeah, well, I'll fill it later, it'll be fine. Um and then 2008 9 happened and I wasn't as financially stable as I was when I bought this dream big house. And so I found this house was like stretching me and I was
Mm.
stressing about being in this house. And there were a lot of times that I was thinking, gosh, if I would have just stayed in my apartment, I would be at financial
Mm.
freedom right now because I could lower my expenses. Um and I didn't end up selling the house, but I had a lot of thought about, what do I want? And I ultimately decided, I am willing to trade the time and the stress that I'm going through right now. I am willing to trade it for this house. is what I ultimately decided. Yes, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to work longer because I want this house. But
Mm,
I think, some people don't spend time thinking, they're paying the bills, they're working two jobs, they're just running. And you're like,
right.
why? What, look at your life, and sometimes maybe you need to move, maybe you need
Hmm.
to change the people that you've surrounded with, maybe you just need to tweak your lifestyle a little bit. But you know be be intentional about what it is that's, and then like you said, if you know what you don't want, well then at least change that. And it doesn't have to be everything all at once, just start changing some little things. And speaking of like 2008, just some of the little things that we were deciding on. We had a lifestyle, and then the real estate market changed, and then we had a different lifestyle. um, and I remember one of the things that my dad and I used to do was we would go to a restaurant every Friday and just kind of powwow about the week and what we were doing. And it got to the point where I was like, this is really going to even stretch me any more if we are going out to eat every week. And I had made the decision that the house was my priority. So I would rather have the house than go out to eat. Right. And
Mm,
that decision, that's freedom. That's freedom.
Hmm.
yes.
I had the freedom to make that. Did I like the decision? No, but I had the freedom to choose it. So, and then what we
Hmm.
ultimately decided was, we can't go out to eat every Friday, but we can get a $5 Little Caesars pizza every Friday, because we would have spent $5 on lunch even if we would have packed our lunch. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
that's every Friday, and we'll have Little Caesars pizza and a pop every Friday instead. So, just trying to, I can't have exactly what I want, but I prioritized what I wanted at the time,
Hmm.
and then tried to find, well, you can't, I'm choosing not to go out to eat, but what can we do? So for several years, we had lots of,
I love it.
you got to realize you have the freedom of those choices in the moment, even if you don't like your options, you still have
Yes.
the ability to choose. And when you make that conscious choice, it makes the harder times a little easier, because you know what, I am choosing to stay with this house. So
Yes.
I'm just,
Yes.
I'm going to have to work a little harder, but it's because I'm working for something. I'm not reacting to things that are happening to me you know
Right, right. I love that you just said the words "I choose." It's something
Hmm.
that Flip and I we got rid of the word "I should." "I should" is a punishment type sentence. I should be doing this. It doesn't give you any power. So every time we do something, it's "I choose to do this," because that's where the power comes from. And the reason I mentioned that is because the quote that you sent me, I love learning what people's favorite quotes are. And so the quote that you sent me was, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." And that's Marianne Williamson. So, why do you think the fear of the light might be even greater than fear of the darkness?
you know People are afraid that if I succeed, my life is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
My friends are going to treat me different. Yeah, they might.
Hmm.
I know my some of my friends treated me different. And your life might shift in unexpected ways. So, or you might feel like, gosh, if I'm super successful with this, God, that's more responsibility than I want to have. So I'm just not even gonna try. But I think you got to remember, you choose. So choose what you want to have, and if it comes with people that can't handle your success, then you can choose whether you want to keep them in your life or not. you know
That's right.
but don't don't just bury your light because of all of the possibilities of all the scary things that could happen if you succeed.
That's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, I love that. So let's talk about that. So we are get real is like it's important to us. Like everything that we do, it's about getting real. It's about talking about the lessons learned. It's about talking about the failures. We truly believe that anybody has the power to do exactly what they want to do in life, and we want to be the type of people that encourage people to step out and take that first step and do what they want to do. And I love surrounding ourselves with like people like you. That's why this Freedom Show is very much starting off with our internal network is who we're inviting on this show. The people that
Hmm.
we collaborate with and are on this freedom journey with, on this real estate journey with. So when it comes to the get real talk, can you share with us some of your just failures, some of the moments that maybe a lot of people don't talk about and that you really struggled through, but the fact that you kept on going is why you are where you are today?
Well, I mentioned first my first marriage. Real estate really kind of was one of the deciding factors on that. He was very nervous about me buying property, even though I was in real estate when we in real estate. I was trying to be in real estate when we met. This wasn't anything, that was new. And I remember at one point he said to me, I don't know why you're so working on this so hard. I'm never going to be a millionaire. And I was like, wow, we are on two different pages because I'm going to be one. I don't know how this works. So that marriage kind of felt like a failure. And then
Yeah.
um later on, I'm realizing time failures. So when my grandmother was alive, at the beginning of our career, my father spent every Wednesday having lunch with her, every single Wednesday.
Mm.
And there would be times I was super ambitious at the time, and I'd be like, oh my God, we got this deal. The only time they can show it to us is Wednesday. Can't you just reschedule? And he was like, no, no,
Mm.
no. And I would get so frustrated with that and be like, she doesn't do anything. You can literally have lunch with her any other day of the week, you know? And I didn't understand how important that Wednesday lunch
Mm.
was. And there were many Wednesday lunches that I missed and didn't
Mm.
go, and she's not with us anymore, and I there's just nothing I can do to get that back, you know
Hmm.
Yeah.
and I can make more money. I can't make more lunches with my grandma, you know
Yep.
it's
Yeah,
just
that's right.
so that's a failure. And I can talk about all sorts of failures with business, and I should have never bought that, and oh, I messed up on I got cocky and didn't look at the school district and just assumed this house was in the school district. This was this month's mistake, by the way. you know
Mm.
I
Oh,
this
this one's still a
this
little
house
raw
was
then,
in this
yeah.
school district, and I went to list it, and I'm like, sure as shit it's not. And that's a
Oh.
$25,000 difference in price on the house. So that those are
Oh.
mistakes I'm still making now, but I don't regret that mistake. You can always
Mm.
make the more money, but it's the relationships, it's the time. We hired my sister to be our bookkeeper as we were growing and getting bigger, and then ended up hiring her husband to be our maintenance guy. And I thought, oh, this is great. We're supporting our family and we're all working together. And as I mentioned earlier, there's going to be people that think they're maybe entitled to more of your success than you feel that they're entitled to your success. um
Yes.
and I haven't spoken to my sister in 6 years because of that. And
Wow.
I don't know what I could have done differently. Maybe not hired her at all. Don't work with family. I
Yeah.
thought I was,
Yeah.
I went in with good intentions, and it didn't work out well. And that's a huge failure. I haven't spoke with her. I haven't seen my nieces, and she just wants nothing to do with me at this point. And
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, that Yeah, that's tough. We actually made the same mistake hiring family. So if anybody's listening and you're thinking about hiring family or hiring friends, like it was a mistake. We loved it for the same reason you did. We were like, oh, we're all just gonna make money together and build these companies, and we just thought it was just dream. And it didn't work out. And fortunately, it's not as bad as your situation. We are still friends. We still talk to everybody, and I'm thankful for that. But it could have gone worse. So. So now, like, I love that you talked about various things about like the get real portion. So what would you tell people who are they're afraid of starting or they're in the middle of it and they're in a they're in the crap hole right now, like going through something that's horrible and they're thinking about quitting. What would be your advice?
Um, while I'm a giant fan of never, 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 never quit.
Yep.
Don't give up.
Woohoo!
Yep.
Sometimes it's appropriate. Sometimes if it's not working for you and it's not bringing you joy and you're throwing yourself at this, maybe it's appropriate. So it's okay to quit if it's not for you. It's not okay to quit if it's hard.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
Right.
everything you do is going to be hard. There's nothing that
That's
you're going
right.
to do that's worth anything that's not going to come with its challenges and its learning curve and your giant mistakes. And sometimes you're going to make giant mistakes. And sometimes you're
Yes.
going to not have a clue how to get out of this mistake. I have no clue how this is playing out. Take one little step forward. You don't need to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's right. I love that. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think there's a period in our lives that every time I would say this next line, Dani, the first, I don't know, months or so, that I would say that she would get mad, but then after that, she would finish my sentence. But I would always say, well, if it was easy,
Everybody would do it.
she didn't like that the first couple times. She's like, ah!
I love that. Yeah, that is awesome. Well, let's roll into your superpower. So there is a reason why we connected. We actually started a mastermind in the local Ohio area. We wanted to work with people who were in the multifamily space, even single family. And we're just doing a lot of deals. Like we're doing volume. We want to understand the challenges, collaborate with others when we were struggling. That's I believe how we met initially, at least in person. And then at one of those meetings, you actually talked to us about this package on how we could implement it in our multifamily properties and actually it would bring up the NOI and that it makes your property like value more. So I don't know that you would call that your superpower, but I definitely want you to talk about it. So you also have said it doesn't necessarily take money to make money. Like you are very good at creating deals that didn't allow, or you did not have to pull money out of your pocket to get them done. So if one of them or both of them are part of your superpower, I'd love for you to start talking about that.
I think, as you're kind of phrasing it that way, I was thrown off when you said superpower at first, but I think my superpower is figuring out how to get it done. So a lot of people, when you're presented with, X opportunity, I think it's human nature maybe to go through all the ways it's not going to work. Well, this could happen, or this could happen, or this could happen, or this, it could blow up horribly. Yep, it could, but I think my mind kind of goes to, gosh, how can we make it happen? How can we do this? How do I buy 52 houses a year when I don't have any money? How do I do that? There's an answer. There's an answer to that, and you could totally do it. And I
Yes.
think with with the utility piece that you and I met with, kind of got together on with our apartments was, somebody had come to me and said, oh, hey, you can be, choose your own electric provider, which I had heard of before, and then, get, commission and do this. And I was like, okay. And they're like, what do you think? And instead of going to, oh, I don't have time, or, I don't have time to fit this in my schedule, I said, well, how, just entertaining it. How do I make it work? And I was like, oh my gosh, we can really make this work, And I was like, you add the utilities to the rent, you use the electric provider, you increase the rent because you're providing additional amenities with your electric, and now you've got additional income, you've got residual income from the electric bills that are coming in. It increased your NOI, and I've just created 7 figures worth of net worth change by listening to this conversation with this person who was presenting me with an opportunity that at first blush didn't feel like, I'm not doing this. But instead I just took just a hot second to think, to just say, well, what, how could I make it work? How could I make it work? And
That's
that
right.
opened a door to, a lot of other opportunity. And then sharing the opportunity and having the and then now we get to meet and we get to connect, and you're sharing information with me on, virtual assistants and all this other things that help, I'm struggling with on my, I'm like, oh, I hadn't thought about that, thank you, and it's just this giant collaboration of network, all by thinking, how can I make it work, instead of why it won't work.
Yes. Yeah. I think that is a superpower. So I'm glad that I phrased it that way, because I don't know that I would have gotten that answer. And I think that answer is really, really powerful. That sometimes you can just take a minute, and take a hot minute sometimes when you really don't think something's going to work, and just say, hey, am I sure that I've actually thought this, all the way through? And are there some questions I haven't asked? Are there some answers I still need to go searching for in order to see if I've given this the full chance? Because there's some people, I guarantee, that have turned down things, and I'm one of them. Sometimes I move so fast. I'm proud of being a quick decision maker. That's not always a superpower. Sometimes it's kryptonite, right? Because I say no to something, or I say yes to something that should have been the opposite answer. I should have taken more time to either say no when I said yes, or say yes when I said no. So I think that that's really, really, really powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so I love this part. Okay, so we always research like hot topics, and we love real estate, and you are in real estate, you're in our network, so we thought this would be a good topic for us to hit on. So we're going to talk about one of the most popular questions that is Googled on Google on the internet.
Oh, she said that.
I did.
That's awesome.
So between the three of us, I want us all to kind of talk about this this answer. The question is real estate investing better than stocks? And since, Elissa, you are our guest, we're going to let you start.
Yeah, heck yeah, it's better than stocks. Oh my goodness. They're I a piece of real estate's never going to go to zero. There's always value in the land. A stock can go to zero and you have no control over it going to zero.
Yep.
Real estate, you've got control. Sometimes you don't have control. The house burns down, whatever. You don't have control over it. Leverage. Oh my goodness. I could buy $20 million worth of real estate with none of my own money, but I can't do that with stocks. I mean, I guess you can do leverage with stocks, but you can lose your butt on that, so I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to monopolize. I don't want this.
Well, yeah, us too. Like I would say 99% of our money is in real estate or real estate businesses. And then Flip likes to play a little bit of change in the stock and crypto market just because he thinks it's fun.
Yeah, but you make it. That's 99. You said that's 1%. I have way less than 1%.
I was just giving guesses.
No, it's like 99.999% is in real estate. And so I decided it would be fun. I got whatever the account is on my phone, the app or whatever.
Robinhood or something?
Robinhood, yeah. And I bought, and no, we're not sponsored by Robinhood. We're not affiliated. And so I bought a couple, sold one of them, and bought something else. And I bought them because I like them. I have no idea. I don't know anything about anything. I bought the two stocks I bought are because I like them.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I like the companies. That's it.
Yeah. So on that point, every now and then we're at dinner and he shows me his phone. And for a long time, they were going up, up, up. Well, just the other day, literally the other day, he goes, look at what that, and it was going down, down, down. It was tanking.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is one of those important pieces of stocks versus real estate. Like, it's not like we can jump on the phone and call the company and say, hey, what the heck are you guys doing over there? Because you're losing my money. Yeah. Whereas, real estate, you do have some control over it. And if you're working with real estate investors, like I'm sure you use private money lenders, right, Elissa? And if you're working with somebody and we have something going wrong, the private money lender can go, hey, what's up? What's going on? Like we've had deals that were like taking longer than expected. And we reach out proactively and just say, hey, this is taking longer than expected. We can pay you off on time if you really need that money back. But if you don't, we'd love for you to extend and keep that money working for you. We'll keep paying interest. And I would say, like nearly 100% of the time, I don't personally know of anybody who said, I'm going to cash out. They just want their money working for them, right? And that's the difference between stocks and real estate, is like you actually had control. You could actually talk to somebody, whether you're an active investor or a passive investor. So that's my 2 cents. What's yours 2 cents?
Well, yeah, everything both of you said. It's just there's I don't know how I could add anything else to it. Like, so the stocks are going down, right? If we had a house that was going down in value, well, we go inside the house and renovate it, and we build it back up and put value back in the house. You can't do that with stocks other than look at your phone going, no, so I don't know what else to, I mean, the only thing that was worse than stocks is crypto. I mean,
we made that mistake too.
I threw money in that. And I went, wow, I own crypto and it's already lost value. So yeah, Bitcoin wasn't whatever it was. Bitcoin is something else. Anyway, so
well, I love the real estate versus stock conversation. I've heard so many people have it. And it's just fun to go back and forth talking about it. Okay, so you are listening to The Freedom Show with Flip and Dani. Our guest is Elissa Miller, and we are going to be right back after this very short commercial break.
Add new income streams to your financial statement. Freedom Family Investments can help. Own property and get paid rent. Join funds and get paid interest. Wealth is well-being. Own your own future. Freedom Family Investments. Get more time to focus on what matters. Learn which investing path is for you, where to start, and who to trust. Visit freedomfamilyinvestments.com.
Welcome back to The Freedom Show with Flip and Dani. Our guest is Elissa Miller, and we are going to do one of our favorite parts of the show. This is Real Quick with Flip.
all right. So what I'm doing is I'm going to give you two options. I call this, that, or the other. So I'm going to say Lucky Charms or Cheerios. And if you don't like either one of them, you can say, Frosted Flakes or whatever, whatever. So I'm going to give you two options. You can say which one of the options, or you can say something else. Got it?
Yep.
And unfortunately, she's already answered one of these questions from earlier in the recording. So
that's all right. Ask her again.
I'm going to
trip her up.
I'm going to ask her, but I know what the answer is real quick, and it's why it's why this question's on here. Okay, so football or soccer?
Basketball.
There you go. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Yes.
Okay, so I know we talked about your superpower, but imagine you have a real superpower. Would it be able to fly or to read minds?
Read minds.
Okay, vacation on a beach or vacation in the mountains?
Beach.
Okay, this one might be a little close to home. Indiana Hoosiers or Notre Dame Fighting Irish?
Oh, Purdue Boilermakers. Come on now.
Atta girl. Friends or Seinfeld?
Friends. Yep.
80s or 90s?
Oh. They're both great. I can't pick. Depends on the mood.
Well, I guess the other would be both.
There
we go.
Both.
All right. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset. Yep.
Okay. Here it is. Soda or pop?
Pop.
Is that what you heard earlier?
You said it earlier. I'm like, oh man, you gotta do
We had Little Caesars and pop. Right?
Yep. You're exactly right. I grew up in Michigan. Everything was pop. And then we moved down to Texas and Florida and everything's soda. So it's very interesting. And then here's a location question for you. Skyline or Gold Star?
Skyline. Really chilly.
And for those of you that don't know, I found this out when we moved to Cincinnati area, that there's this huge thing for chili. Now, if you live anywhere else outside of Ohio, you wouldn't call it chili, but they call it chili. I don't know why. And they put it on noodles. Again, don't know why, but there's Skyline and Gold Star, the two biggest one. There's a few others that aren't as big as that, but it's like a cult thing. It's bigger than McDonald's and Burger King. It's crazy.
We have it on our meal plan for this week. Skyline chili.
Nice.
See,
How
that's what
perfect.
What we're
I love
having
it.
for dinner tomorrow.
I love it. Well, I'm glad that you asked the sunrise or sunset question. I also am a sunset person. Flip loves sunrises. Whenever we're in a hotel or at a beach or anything, he's always out on the beach or outside on the balcony, whenever it is, watching the sunrise. But it reminded me of some of the pictures that you post on social media of all the animals.
Mhm.
Like you tend to see like animals towards the end of the night, and they're just like, sometimes you're feeding them or whatever. So have you officially moved? And how is that all going in terms of like, do they get close to you? Do you still feed them? I'm just curious.
We haven't moved yet. So we have 36 acres that we're trying to build on. And I actually have a city council meeting tonight that I'm going to. This will be the second to last one, hopefully, before we get permission to build. But I've got
Nice.
trail cams up. So those are the pictures I post are from the trail cams. We have, I think we counted at one point like 12 different species of wild animal. Saw a skunk on the camera last night for the first time. So we have skunks too. So that's awesome. We've named some of them. We have Wile E. Coyote that shows up. He's got a girlfriend.
That's adorable. Well, I know you have dogs. So we have dogs here in Florida. We have alligators and bears literally in our neighborhood. And so we actually put a fence around our yard. So what are you doing for your dogs? Like, you think they're going to be okay back there? Are you going to fence in your yard?
We're
What does
gonna
that
have
look like?
part of it fenced in. Yeah, we were thinking about invisible fence, and I was like, well, that helps keep them out of the woods, but it doesn't help the coyotes from
Coming in,
up
yeah.
here.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, so we'll have part of it fenced in for sure.
Nice. Well, I can't wait to see it. I forgot that you were building and that it was still in the works. So I'm excited for whenever it gets done. That is going to be so fun. It's going to be party at Elissa's when we come into town. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I loved how you named him too, because the gator that's in our pond behind our house, his name's Tater. The hawk that always lands on our back fence, his name's Henry. So yeah, we've got names for them all too.
It's just fun.
Yep.
I love it. Well, I just want to thank you again for coming on the Freedom Show with us. Like I said, we really wanted to ring our network and just kind of introduce our network to the people that know us, because we think it's so powerful when we get to share, who we love working with, who we love collaborating with, who we call. Sometimes we call when we're having a win, but most of the time we call when we're having a bad time and we need help. So we really just appreciate you. You've been a great friend. You're an incredible real estate investor. You've certainly added value to our lives. We thank you for being on the show. If anybody would like to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
My email address is elissa at R as in Ralph, F as in Frank, Miller Homes, HOMES.com. I am also on Facebook. That's the only social media that I am able to keep up with. So
I know the feeling.
message me first though, because I don't friend complete strangers that think I'm cute and want to take me to dinner. That's not happening.
I love it. Ain't that the truth? Awesome. We will have that information in the show notes too. So again, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. And we wish you a wonderful week, and we'll see everybody next week on the Freedom Show. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Oh, I hope you guys enjoyed that show. I cannot believe everything that she does in real estate. And she has 6 kids.
I know, it's crazy. Every single week we let you know at the end of our episodes what is going on in our real estate business right now. So right this morning, I was actually messaging the team. We're getting ready to send out some emails to our entire list about private money lending opportunities. We typically have a very, very long waiting list for private money lenders, and our transaction coordinator, Tiffany, will have a deal come up, and she'll run through her list to see who is the next one there, and then she'll offer it up to them in order to fund a deal. And so all of our private money lenders want to keep their money working for them all the time, so she tries to get them deals as fast as possible. Well, I'm telling you about this right now because we have a volume of deals coming in. So we need more private money lenders for the first time in years. So we're going to go ahead and tap out for everybody that's on our waiting list. But if you want to be a private money lender with us, maybe you were on the waiting list before and got tired of waiting, then please reach out and talk to us. Their interest rates are anywhere between 8 and 10%, sometimes 12%, depending on how much capital that you are deploying with us. So reach out. The terms are 12 months or less, so very liquid. It's backed by real estate. You have a first lien position at all times, and the process is super easy. Tiffany sends you a private funding packet. She's going to tell you what the deal is. It'll have all the financials and all the numbers and all the pictures, and you just let her know within 24 hours, hey, yeah, Tiffany, I want to do this. And if you're not ready yet, don't worry. That's why she gives you 24 hours. You can just, she'll just send it to the next person in line until we get that deal funded. So it's very simple. It's usually the way that most passive investors invest with us for the very first time because it's so simple, because it's liquid and has a high rate of return, plus the first lien position on real estate. So if you're interested in learning more, email us at invest@freedomfamilyinvestments.com and write private lending in the subject line, and we will get you more information. Besides that, then we just look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Bye.
See you in the next episode. Bye.
Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on the show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss.